Homewood has been a successful insurance executive for over 25 years, being one of the top producers worldwide. Amy experienced some health challenges with Lyme disease for over 20 years, which brought her to a greater understanding of natural medicine modalities. It has helped her tremendously. So now she is an advocate and educator in a new area of science and preventive medicine called the Nrf2 pathway. Amy is going to tell us about her background and how she came to learn about Nrf2. It is one of the fastest growing areas in medicine. She will also talk about anti-aging science and how detoxification pathway has helped her heal from Lyme disease, which is a big problem in the New England area. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you, Helen. It's so nice to be here. Thank you for asking me.
So tell us a little bit about your background. And so what did you do as an insurance executive?
Yeah, I've been in the insurance business for 25 years, mostly in the Pennsylvania area. And as a child, though, I grew up on Nantucket Island. So that's where my health issues began. But I've been doing financial planning and working with closely held family businesses, and that's been primarily what I've been doing, and it's been amazing. Great career, but I've become very much more interested in helping people understand how they can heal, and particularly people with Lyme disease.
Mm-hmm. So as a Lyme disease patient, I'm sure that you suffered a lot. You went through probably a lot of medications, supplements, and doctors. Could you share with us a little bit about your experiences?
Oh, yes. There's, well, being in New England, as a child in the summers, we were outside all the time, and it seemed that Lyme disease was something that a lot of people didn't know about. You know, people were just getting sick, and then as I got older, I'm not really sure exactly when I contracted it because I was getting tick bites all the time as a kid, but ultimately I started to have some problems. And, you know, the things that most people think about with Lyme disease, the achiness, the stiffness, the joint pain, and then ultimately I was having cognitive functioning problems. And this started about 10 years ago. It started to really affect my processing speed and just the way that I was able to focus. And also with my business, I could really notice that there was a difference between the way that I could do mathematics and things like that, like things that you would normally just wouldn't think would be a problem as I was aging, started to become a problem for me. So I actually had to go through many different doctors to try to find practitioners that really understood, particularly from a neurological perspective, how to deal with Lyme disease. But I was really fortunate because the first time I had a tick bite, and as an adult, I went to the hospital right away, and was given antibiotics.
That's a procedure. That's kind of
exactly.
pretty much most doctors would do. Yeah.
So in Nantucket, they don't even give you a blood test. They immediately, once you have a tick bite, they immediately give you a prescription for doxycycline, a 21-day course, because the probability of getting a positive test is very low. Most people, 50% maybe, of the people that are diagnosed with Lyme disease even test positive for it. So it's really based on the symptoms. So in the good hospitals, they'll immediately give you antibiotics right away, which unfortunately, even if you're a natural medicine practitioner, antibiotics, if you get it in the beginning, are a really smart thing to try. So I was fortunate to get on antibiotics the first time, and I was okay after that. And then for another couple years went by, and then I got bitten again, went to the hospital and went through the same thing. Got on the antibiotics again. And then a third time, which happened maybe about 15 years ago, I had another tick bite, but I didn't know, and I didn't know that I had it. And it wasn't until it was just inflamed, and it was probably a week later that I had found the tick. So at that point, within 72 hours, if you don't get on antibiotics right away, you're basically they don't work. So from there. And during those years, I was looking into natural medicine, and fortunately there are many practitioners, even back 20 years ago, 15 years ago, that were starting to emerge, which is part of this movement now, and thanks to people like you who are bringing forth these modalities, it's been wonderful, because that's really what worked for me. Yeah,
so actually I did a TV show about Lyme disease, and we talked specifically about the symptoms of Lyme, and there was so much overlapping of Lyme symptoms with even depression, bipolar, and pain and achiness and just all over discomfort. So that's why a lot of people didn't think about Lyme. It's a very high possibility in this area in New England. And so tell us, how did you come to the Nrf2 pathway, and how did you learn about that?
Yeah, so there's a whole area that is really significant, and a lot of people are going to be learning about this. And I want to start a little bit before that with something called oxidative stress.
Yes.
Because oxidative stress is a really big problem, specifically for people with Lyme disease. But all mammals are literally rusting from the inside out, and we do have a few slides to kind of talk about what oxidative stress is, what causes it, and why everybody has to worry about it. And essentially, as mammals, we're breathing in air, and this oxygen is causing a rusting phenomena in the body, similar to if you took an apple, cut it in half, and left it out on your counter.
It turns brown.
It turns brown and it rusts.
Yes.
And so that's happening inside the body, and particularly people with any kind of autoimmune issues, or even just people aging.
Yes.
The process of aging causes oxidative stress, and it literally is, we're rusting from the inside out. So when you have Lyme disease, this is something that if doctors are educated on oxidative stress, which is the root cause of aging in the human body, so you'd think that everyone would be talking about it. But what they're talking about rather is free radical damage, which again is caused from just breathing in air, the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, insecticides, food coloring, genetically modified organisms that our body can't recognize in our food sources, electromagnetic frequencies, and all of those things.
Yes.
For people with Lyme disease, you have to be really, really thoughtful as to what you're putting into your body, because you have very high levels of oxidative stress because your detoxification pathways aren't working. So if you understand how to turn on the detoxification pathways, then you have a chance of healing, which is the area that brought me to the Nrf2. It's Nrf2. It's an acronym for a very long word that starts with nuclear something. Okay? And this is an area of science that is absolutely exploding, and I'm very fortunate that I was educated on this by some doctors and also a friend of mine who shared some information with me a few years ago about the emergence of this information. So essentially, that Nrf2 is a protein messenger that's inside every tissue, every cell, and every organ. It's in everything in your body, has these proteins that signal into the nucleus of the cell and tells the body what to do. This Nrf2, which I think everyone's going to want to know about because they're going to be hearing more about it in the future, is the master regulator of a set of genes in our body called survival genes. And those genes are responsible to turn on your body's own production of antioxidant enzymes. So normally people think they're supposed to take direct antioxidants, which is the way we've been educated by the medical community. Yes. And also by the pharmaceutical and by the vitamin companies. Yes. Because antioxidants directly have been proven to work at some level.
At some level, to a certain degree, and depends on what kind of antioxidants and how much you are taking it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's that direct antioxidant that we're trying to take over for what our body starts to slow down in doing. As we age, our body slows down in the production of its own antioxidants. So if we can turn on our body's antioxidant production back to when we were younger and get the detoxification pathways opened up again, then we can really have a true sense of healing and a reduction of oxidative stress. So there's a new shift now that we've identified Nrf2, which was identified in 1994 by some Japanese scientists. This is a huge breakthrough in science and medicine, and there are some 8,000 studies just in the last year that have been published at the National Institutes of Health in this particular area of science, because it represents a new tool that wasn't available before.
I've read I've done some research in the past 3 years about this Nrf2 pathway and detoxification, and I've been just fascinated by the studies. And I understand there are like a lot of studies that have
There are.
done.
And what's really interesting is that it's been around since 1994. And so over these years, there's been research that's been taking place, because it represents something that literally many scientists, and I'm hearing this because I do attend some of the there's a program called the A4M Congress on Anti-Aging Medicine, and I'm actually going to China to go and listen to some presentations there coming up. I'm doing, there's a lot of research all over the world.
Yes.
But the first symposium after 21 years of the leading scientists in the world just happened at Cambridge University in January of this year. 300 scientists got together and produced and showed and shared their studies and their findings. And so what we know is this is the beginning of this area that literally some people are saying is going to be the most important breakthrough in the history of medicine, because it's a way to heal the body naturally by the body. With the genes, we've mapped out the human genome now. It's like a computer. We can go in and signal and turn up and down these little dimmer switches, which are our genes. So the Nrf2 activates the genes that are responsible to make the body's antioxidant production. Your own body's antioxidants are millions and millions and millions of times more powerful than a goji berry or the green smoothie I had for breakfast this morning or any of these fabulous vitamins and supplements. They only can neutralize one free radical for one molecule of antioxidant that you consume directly, 1 to 1. That's it, and it's over. With your body's antioxidants, it's 1,000,000 to 1 neutralizing free radicals. One molecule of your own enzyme kills millions of free radicals per second every second. As we sit here today, a vitamin C tablet's like a little Dixie cup of water that we're throwing on, our body's burning up with free radicals. And so if we can quench that fire with a fire hose, which is our body's own antioxidant enzymes, we are going to reduce oxidative stress.
So this is so exciting. Basically, instead of taking antioxidants and hoping it would work, we can actually help our body to turn on this pathway to produce the antioxidants whenever it needs it, and then can turn it off when it doesn't need it.
Yes.
Okay, and so the antioxidants we're talking about will be like glutathione, maybe SOD, like the superoxide dismutase, and so these are the things that our body was able to produce from birth.
Yes.
And then I guess when we started to age, and then it starts to somehow diminish the production.
Yes.
And so we don't have enough.
Exactly. So as we grow, when our body reaches full skeletal size, which is around age 20, prior to that, you're being showered with these enzymes. The glutathione, which is a molecule that is really the master detoxifier, the superoxide dismutase, catalase, and there are other protective enzymes. But once you hit age 20, that production slows down. It literally is like a little dimmer switch or a spigot that slowly turns, and all of a sudden it's drip, 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 and that's it.
That's why everything starts to get slowed down.
It does.
Our metabolism, digestion, and,
wrinkles,
healing.
Scarring. Children today, unfortunately, are getting sicker than they used to in the past. And it's because of all the toxins. So even children, you're seeing a lot more autism. You're seeing a lot of ADHD and a lot of cancers,
depression, anxiety.
Exactly, a lot of anxiety is one of the biggest epidemics in children.
It is.
So all of these things, even though their bodies are able to produce these in a much better way than when they get older, because of all the toxins and chemicals, things are shutting down.
Yeah.
And so it's a tragedy. So the good news is there are new modalities, including a lot of the things that you're involved in with your acupuncture, herbs, natural medicine, and thank God the world is listening now because they're fed up. I was fed up as a patient in the Lyme disease world, trying to find someone to help me get better. And it was with food and my own desire to get better that I was actually able to find these things. Nobody brought these to me. I had to go out and find them myself. By going and meeting people like you.
So what makes you or made you to actually put aside your very successful insurance business? And I understand that you are like devoted now to helping people feeling better. And so what makes you to make that switch?
Well, when you have this kind of information, you have to share it with people. That's the way I feel. And I couldn't not be excited about what was happening for me because I tried so many different things. Helen, I used to take about 20 to 30 supplements a day. I had a designated refrigerator in my house. It was 2 drawers that I actually had built just for my vitamins and all of the silver sprays and all different things I was doing. And I was working with acupuncturists. I was working with chiropractic. I had an amazing herbal doctor here that's from Springfield, Massachusetts, that I worked with over the telephone because, as you know, I live in the Washington, D.C. area. Yes. I also went to a neurologist, rheumatologist doctor who's a specialist in Lyme. And that was the last place I was. This was probably 4 years ago. I was seeing, because I had gotten to the point where I was having cognitive functioning problems. And so I went and this doctor that I finally was with, and because I was doing okay, but when it started to get into my brain, I got really scared. Because I know that there are a lot of people who believe that multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, and all early dementia is caused potentially from Lyme disease. Yes. So I did not, at 54 years old, at the time I just, it was just after I was 50, I was starting to feel like I was losing my mind. And I was also having tremendous anxiety. Yes. To the point where I was feeling really weird a lot of the time, and I didn't feel that I could even go up and present. For my insurance business, I was speaking around the country and getting up in front of people. I would panic before I would do it, but I thought I was going to pass out. So things like that, like I was really struggling. So I finally went and had some neurological testing done, and I had some problems with. I was messed up. So he took me as a patient, and I was doing meditation and all different things, seeking psychiatry, and also using all these herbs that I'm telling you about, all kinds of vitamins, not just herbs, but other supplements as well. And I was doing pretty well. But then 3 years ago, somebody shared with me something that activates the Nrf2 pathway. And I didn't know about the Nrf2 pathway, using phytonutrients, which are what is grown on the earth. I mean, everything that we need is already here. We just have to find it. I've always believed that. Yes. So fortunately, I was given an opportunity to learn about something that somebody sat down in my kitchen and told me about. And it's a supplement that's made from 5 herbs.
So this one particular supplement can actually help you to deal with the Lyme disease.
It completely changed everything. So within 10 days, I was feeling more alert. I was feeling less body pain, which I have had for years, chronic pain in my hips. So every morning I would wake up, I'd have to stretch. My feet, I have arthritis in my feet. I wasn't able to wear heels, listen, I like to wear heels once in a while. I like to put a dress on and put some heels on.
By the way, you look very pretty today.
Well, thank you. But the point is, I was in a lot of pain. And then I started using this product, and it absolutely changed everything for me. And so I brought it to my doctor. And what was wonderful about this is it actually has clinical studies that show that this works in the human body. It has human studies, which a lot of supplements, not a lot, no supplements have, very, very few. I don't know, you might know some, but I've never seen any that had any human studies. And there's no FDA approval process, which I don't even think is significant anymore anyway, because not a lot of people even believe in what the FDA is up to. But the bottom line is, this actually had 16 published studies at the National Institutes of Health.
About this one supplement.
This one particular product.
And you mentioned they are made of 5 herbs. Could you tell the audience what 5 herbs?
So turmeric, which is a super anti-inflammatory.
One of my favorite herbs.
So Indian, amazing, which I always used to cook with, but I wasn't taking turmeric at the time. Milk thistle, which is a liver detoxifier.
Yep.
Ashwagandha, which is for brain calming. It's a very significant Ayurvedic adaptogen.
A lot in India.
Yes. And it's also for sexual vitality, which is not a bad thing once you're over 50.
No, not bad at all. A lot of people need that as well.
Green tea, which is obviously super metabolism booster, super antioxidant, used for 5,000 years in China and all over the world, and we're all drinking it now. And then bacopa, which I had never heard of.
Bacopa is, we use that in Chinese medicine for thousands of years.
Oh, really?
And, yes, it's great product. And all of these are my favorite herbs. I use them daily with my clients.
So here's the thing, Helen, that because I do talk, and you and I met through this, me educating you through some other folks, is that there's a chemistry involved, and you know this, you're a neurologist. When you put things together, just like I like to cook, when you bake a cake, you don't just take those 5 ingredients and just divide them up and throw them in the pot. You have to do certain ratios.
Oh, that's how I cook, though. I don't follow recipe. I just throw in the different
you
ingredients.
must not be a very good baker, okay? A souffle would not do well with you. So literally, you have to take the thing and look at Martha Stewart when she cooks. It's the same thing with science and chemistry. So these herbs together, they studied these things, and they studied hundreds of herbs, the company that manufactures this. But what they did is they actually tested herbs that they knew had the possibility of turning on some of the enzymes, not Nrf2 initially, just some of those enzymes that are so powerful. And they knew there were certain enzyme activators. So they started playing with those, and they ended up with 5 because they did studies to show that even at low dosages of these herbs in different ratios, that it became 18 times more powerful. And ultimate at turning on the one enzyme SOD, superoxide dismutase, which is the most powerful enzyme that the body makes to neutralize free radicals. So what's amazing about this is that Dr. Joe McCord, he's a world famous scientist, father of free radical biology. He's been nominated for 4 Nobel Prizes in medicine, and also earned the Elliott Cresson Award from the Franklin Institute.
Yes.
And he's the one who worked with the company to do the final formula for this product. And he did the human studies. I mean, this is a person that most companies would only dream of having as their chief science officer. He was the head of molecular biology at the University of Colorado at Denver. He stopped that being the head of that department to come in and really pioneer this into the world. And it's been a slow process because people don't understand this information.
Well, I bet, yeah, because it's very new for a lot of people. Even most people haven't heard about this.
No, they haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't. And for anti-aging, Helen, oh my gosh, because this is the most important supplement a human can take from a preventive medicine perspective and from an anti-aging. Because what it does is it reduces oxidative stress to that of a newborn baby after 30 days. And it's proven to do that. So if you take 1 pill a day of those 5 herbs in that ratio, 1 time a day, it's fat soluble, so you want to take it with food in the morning. It's going to reduce oxidative stress, which can be measured by something called a lipid peroxidation test. You can get a blood test to see what your oxidative stress level is. And people in the future will be doing oxidative stress tests like they're doing cholesterol tests. It's going to be as big as that.
It'd be bigger probably than the cholesterol.
Yeah, well,
test.
they're finding the cholesterol now isn't even as significant as they thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
So this is
but
more.
This is huge. So what are you saying is that just taking 1 tablet of this balanced ratio of 5 herbs, actually is better than taking the 5 herbs individually or combined, whatever.
Absolutely. It's proven without question that this ratio is significantly more powerful than if you were to use those individually. So a lot of people who are already using them, like you are in your practice, really should consider using this instead. And even though it's lower dosages, it's 18 times more powerful. So it's easier too. It's something people will do.
That's true.
I didn't want to take 20 to 30 supplements a day and all these different pills. And you know what? If you know that it's turning on the antioxidants in your body, which is the reason you're taking the direct antioxidants, you don't need to take direct antioxidants anymore. So you could probably save some money. And a lot of people also are overdoing their vitamins, and they're doing more harm than good because they don't.
And a lot of vitamins are synthetic, and so they
the majority
isolates, and they are like crap.
They are
really
they are
not good for your body at all. It cannot use it. It cannot metabolize it. And so basically it becomes congestion, and your body has to detoxify.
Yeah, exactly.
And so is that what you are doing? You are just taking this 1 tablet a day and you stopped taking the other supplements?
I did. And what was so wonderful is that I went back to my doctor. I mean, I shared the information with him when I learned about this. And I brought all the studies to him so he could read them. And it was very interesting because he actually knew what the Nrf2 pathway was. And I said, well, why didn't you tell me about it? He said, well, because there wasn't any, I didn't know what the answer was. I know what it is, but how are we turning it on? What can we do with this? how can we reduce oxidative stress? We can take all these vitamins. But he didn't know that there was something that turned it on like that. So I was able to inform him about it. And since then, there are some other companies that are coming out with this. So this is going to be huge. So this is going to replace all vitamins. So when you go to the vitamin store, it's going to be Nrf2 activation or SIRT1 activation. There's all these different genes, anti-aging genes, that are important for preventive health.
So what I'm saying is that it's not just Lyme patients. Pretty much anybody can take it. People who don't have issues can take it for prevention, and people who have any chronic issues. Because we know most chronic health issues are caused by oxidation and inflammation, so which is the root cause. And so people can actually take this to feel better.
Yes. Every mammal, 64% of the population just in the United States alone takes a vitamin every day. And they don't really know why. They just know that
because
they're supposed to.
Their neighbor or coworker.
Yeah, or they see it on TV.
Is taking it. Yep, it sounds good.
Exactly.
So it must be good.
So now what we know is there are new technologies. There's a book called The Future, Al Gore wrote, and I read it a couple years ago. And there was one chapter on medicine. And he said that technology in medicine is moving faster than Moore's law, which is the rate of the semiconductor that we're learning. Every 2 years the technology advances, doubles. Yeah. But medicine's moving faster than that. So we're going to see things that are going to blow all of our minds, and that is because they're going to be signaling the genes to do the work. And it's so exciting. And now pharmaceutical companies are getting into this. Nrf2, big time. So we do have some validation because we're using natural Nrf2 activation, but the pharmaceutical companies are researching this, and they've already put out a drug for multiple sclerosis. So we were compared, because we're the only Nrf2 that's proven to work, against that drug when they did their clinical studies, and our product was more effective at activating Nrf2 than theirs was. And their product costs $50,000 a year, and insurance doesn't pay for it. And ours is $40 a month.
$40 a month.
$500 a year to take it.